Here's your wrestling news for November 13th, 2022. And we're kicking off today with Braun Strowman, who this week stirred up some controversy with his comments about indie wrestling. Despite claiming that his insulting comments about the indies and smaller wrestlers were just a joke, it's been reported that Braun has significant heat backstage, with many questioning if he's serious about his second run in WWE. A lot have been said about Braun's comments, and speaking on Smack Talk, ex-WWE manager Dutch Mantel said how Strowman may have hurt his chances significantly by costing WWE money. You're gonna get a lot of fans not liking him, and WWE don't like that because they want them to buy merchandise. You don't buy things off of guys that you don't like. Strowman may have defeated Jinder Mahal on this week's Smackdown to advance in the Smackdown World Cup, but many doubt he'll be winning the tournament given the heat on him. Braun was only rehired by WWE in September, and we doubt he wants to go back to wrestling in front of a dozen people with CYN, but if he doesn't decide to change his attitude, the decision will be made for him. Earlier this week, we reported on Bobby Roode, who hasn't competed in months, with his last televised match being back in April of this year. A series of injuries has derailed Roode's 2022, and it has been reported WWE is considering bringing him back to Smackdown when he returns to TV, despite being a Raw superstar at the time of his injury. Now it appears that this is the case, as this week's Smackdown didn't see Roode appear, but Mike Johnson of PW Insider did confirm that the Glorious One was backstage. It was specified that this was Roode's first time being backstage at a TV taping for quite some time, which many have taken as another sign of his impending return. Roode was a main eventer in Triple H's NXT, and despite a strong start after his 2017 main roster call-up, he has slid down the card since then, but perhaps things will be better for him when he returns to SmackDown, which appears to be soon. We've got some news from the NWA now, as the company hosted their Hard Times 3 pay-per-view last night, and a new world champion has been crowned. The show was once again another stacked event featuring NWA talent, but when the final bell rung, it was Tyrus standing tall. The main event saw Trevor Murdoch defend against both Tyrus and Matt Cardona, who had to vacate the title earlier this year due to a biceps injury. This win may come as a surprise, but it was reported in the days prior to the show that a custom-length NWA World title had been manufactured, which many saw as a sign of the super heavyweight Tyrus's imminent victory. This win may not be entirely because of Tyrus's in-ring work either, as in reports earlier this week, it was noted how the former Brodus Clay has brought eyes to the NWA's product, given his role with Fox News. This marks Tyrus's first NWA World title win, and his first World Championship win of any promotion, and we'll have to see what he does with the iconic 10 pounds of gold. For many, the big interest going into NWA Hard Times 3 wasn't about the stars who were going to show up, but rather the big name who wasn't going to be there. After making his intentions to leave the NWA public and having fiery comments for Billy Corgan, Nick Aldis was removed from the show, and despite what some expected, didn't appear. Speaking for the first time since being pulled from Hard Times, Aldis spoke to the Not Sam Wrestling podcast and said that some of Corgan's booking decisions hadn't come from the right place. Let's call a spade a spade. He worked himself into a shoot. I'm trying to be nice here and not say what's very obvious and for anyone who's paying attention. But his lack of experience and naivety has messed him up. Aldis added that he's got pretty thick skin, but he is hating that he's coming across as someone who complains a lot, when the truth is that he gave more than anyone to the NWA. Once the top star of the promotion, Aldis' contract is expected to expire on January 1st, and with WWE, AEW, Impact, and other promotions a possibility, the Brit will have plenty of options which will keep him away from Billy Corgan. Ever since news dropped that AEW wanted to release CM Punk, the big question on everyone's lips is, will he return to WWE? Punk and WWE have had very toxic comments about each other since his 2014 walkout, but it's reported that Triple H is open to a discussion with the former world champion. Well, the game is open to negotiations. Eric Bischoff isn't convinced he should be, as the former Raw general manager made clear while speaking to Wrestling Inc. From my perspective, I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. CM Punk had a mystique because of WWE and because of the pipe bomb interview, and because he walked out, that created this aura and mystique that Tony Khan brought to AEW and took advantage of for a minute. If Punk had a mystique as an enigmatic character, then it's been replaced by the perception of many fans that he is still bitter and thinks too highly of himself. But what do you think? Should Triple H bring CM Punk back, or is he too much hassle? Let us know in the comments. Punk isn't the only big star missing from AEW TV, as it's been months since Women's World Champion Thunder Rosa competed due to an injury. An injury to her lower back has kept the champion on the shelf for months, but she's now provided an update on her condition. In an Instagram video from Rosa's induction into the Paseo de la Fama, Tijuana's Hall of Fame, Rosa gave a shout out to AEW's women's division, saying they're good, but she's getting better. In a more direct message, Rosa addressed her AEW future, saying she will be back soon. It's been alleged that Rosa was faking or at least exaggerating the extent of her injury, and while the champ has denied such claims, it won't be much longer before we see her back in the ring. More from Thunder Rosa now, as her recovery is coming along nicely and has even gotten back in the habit of doing things that would have been impossible not too long ago. Well, speaking on the Wrestling Perspective podcast, Rosa revealed that she has resumed jogging, something that she hasn't been able to do for the past 3 months. Rosa is pleased to be jogging, but she added that she's not trying to overexert herself, as working too hard could easily re-aggravate her injury and put her back to square one. When Thunder Rosa does return, she'll have a title unification match with the interim AEW Women's World Champion, currently Toni Storm, and this high-profile match shouldn't be too far away, according to these reports. In 2019, Kofi Kingston finally captured the WWE Championship, a title win fans had been hoping to see for years. Kofi Mania was an emotional time for everyone involved and saw the entire New Day celebrate at WrestleMania 35, but things could have been much different. During his Oh You Didn't Know podcast, Road Dogg Jesse James spoke about Kofi Mania and said that he originally envisioned the currently injured Big E to win the title in 2019. I was just texting with Big E, he's doing well. He was talking about how blessed he is. I hadn't seen him in a while, I hadn't heard from him. I was thinking about friends and family today for some reason and saw his number and thought, I'm gonna text Big E right now. He said he's blessed and doing great. When I wrote Smackdown, I wanted him to be the champion. I wanted him to be the champion of Smackdown. I actually pitched, and I've said this before, I actually pitched Big E Mania, and Kofi got the nod because of the time and service, for lack of a better word or phrase. Kofi had been there, and look, it worked, maybe better than it would have with Big E. Only time will tell, and if he comes back and they put the title on him because he can cut great promos, he's a great guy, he's always in great spirits, just an honor to be able to call him my friend. While Big E would get his title win in 2021, his reign as champion would not go well by any stretch of the imagination, and we wonder how things would have worked out had it been Big E Mania in 2019. And we're ending today with Lacey Evans, who returned to TV after months away on this week's SmackDown, but could soon be undergoing a change of character. On SmackDown, the sassy Southern Belle came up short in a six-pack challenge for a future SmackDown Women's title match and teased something different backstage. In a post-match interview, Evans told Kathy Kelly that she's tried the glitz and glamour that she felt she needed and has come up short, saying that it's time for her to go back to basics. As fans know, Evans is a former U.S. Marine, and we doubt she had much time for silk gloves or glamorous events while serving her country. It's interesting that WWE could be about to change Evans' character so suddenly after her return to TV, but maybe a more back-to-basics character is exactly what she needs to become a champion in WWE. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.